Okay, hi everyone. Do you remember the scene in The Lion King? Is one of my favorite scenes in The Lion King. This one, I want to share it with you.
Mufasa. 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 Mufasa.
So it's this scene when the hyenas, and when they listen, when they hear Mufasa, they tremble with fear, like Mufasa, ooh, Mufasa, ooh. I didn't know if you could listen to it, but I found it really similar in one situation when we are learning and we are getting our first job as developers. There are so many new things, so many new words, and there is a word, well, actually two words that we are scared of, and it is legacy code. And maybe seniors are scared of legacy code too. So when we hear legacy code, is like, ooh, legacy code, ooh, say that again, ooh. So, well, I thought it was funny to bring it here to do that comparison. It is true that starting a new project from scratch with super top technologies, React, Next, I don't know, Storybook, Vue, it is really nice. It's actually ideal, I know, but sometimes you don't have that opportunity, okay? So working in a project that is really old, without trending technologies, without testing, could be a great opportunity to learn. I'm going to repeat this phrase many times in the talk. During this talk, I'm going to repeat it's a great opportunity to learn a lot, because it is true. Maybe the code, it is a little bit, but it's an opportunity to learn. This is what I want to talk about in this talk. I want to tell you what I have learned working on such a project. I am Ari. I am a nurse and educational psychologist from Venezuela. I'm working as a front-end developer for 2.5 years. And right now I'm working on Singular. And I'm working in this project that I'm going to talk about. Thank you very much, JSWORLD, for having me here again. Thank you, Singular, for supporting me always. And thank you for watching. I hope you like it. Okay, so when I first started working in Singular, I had like two options, two projects. The first option was a project in a bank with lead element. It was like good, but the second option was a really chaotic code, but with an awesome team. And my eyes were like, cling. I really like challenges, and I saw two important things. Again, a great opportunity to learn and an awesome team with the best. And nowadays, I can say after year and, I don't know, 3-4 months that I'm working in this project, I can say none of these were lies. It is true. It is a really chaotic code, but it is an awesome team. And I think when you're junior, these two things are really important things that you should look for. I'm not saying that this is the best way to learn. I'm not saying that it's the only way to learn. If you are in a project, as I said before, like with React, Next, whatever, Storybook, blah, blah, you're going to learn too. But if you have this opportunity, don't be scared of. And this is like the main topic of this talk. Don't be scared of. Just turn it around. It's not that bad, and you will learn a lot. Again, opportunity to learn. I am a nurse, as I said before. And when I was studying nursing in Venezuela, the internships were in public hospitals. And in Venezuela, public health is, well, not that bad. It's really sad. There are no supplies, no materials. They always told us that practicing and preparing yourself as a professional in this situation, in these conditions, when you get the job in private, clinics, because it's really hard to get a position in public hospitals. When you work in private clinics, everything is going to be easier. And I know all the difference in these two examples, but it's quite similar. I can see that if you learn in this project where everything is against you, well, I feel like that, everything is against me. Afterwards, when I'm going to work in another project that I hope is not like this one, everything is going to be easier and I'm going to be like ready for some kind of crazy things. That's what I want to believe. That's what I want to think that. Okay, but I'm talking about legacy code, but what is a legacy code? So I've been doing this talk in my mind for over a year. I wanted to talk about how it is to work in a project like this. And I had like a first approach of this talk, and I'm going to be honest. Legacy code had like a really negative connotation for me. Like legacy code before being in this project was like a mess, something that you're going to cry while working on it. And then I said, okay, if I'm going to talk about legacy code, I should bring a definition. So I Googled it, and there is no definition. Like legacy code is this. There are many meanings, many definitions. So I said, okay, I'm going to ask on Twitter. And I got many answers, many really nice answers. They are in Spanish because my Twitter is in Spanish, but you can translate them if you want to. And yeah, everyone has different definitions about what legacy code is, but it's different, but kind of the same, you know? So I decided to, okay, this is a new perspective. Everything was really bad, negative connotation for me. Okay, I'm going to turn it around and to learn all these new meanings and to change my perspective. So first of all, I want to say nobody has the right to judge or criticize the code of others ever. I know working in this kind of project is going to be like really painful sometimes, maybe always, and you're going to be like, oh my God, why is this code made like this? But without judging, because we don't know the circumstances. We don't know if they were, for example, trainings without mentors. We don't know if they have very little time. We don't know the conditions. So without judging, without criticizing the code from others, we can say, okay, this is really hard because it is hard. I'm sorry, it is hard. And it's really painful. But again, I could say it is a really opportunity to learn. Okay, so from those definitions or meanings that I found on Google and Twitter, I just brought like the most common answers, and it's like this. Legacy code is a code without tests, a code that was written yesterday, and that means that all code is legacy then. Old code, code with deprecated technologies. If it works, don't touch it. And this is really funny, and it is really true. And code that is hard to maintain. So, well, I think my project, well, the project I'm working in, have almost all of them. So it is a legacy code. It is a project that has almost 11 years. It is made with Backbone and Sass. Backbone, I didn't know what Backbone was. It was the first time I came to this project. It was the first time I heard about Backbone. I always knew about Angular, React, Vue, could be lit element. I heard about jQuery, but I haven't worked with jQuery before. And then Backbone. What is Backbone? Well, this is Backbone. And Sass, no testing. It's a very coupling code. Everything is very well coupling. You talk here, you break it there. And it has a lot of functionality and a lot of traffic and sales because it is an e-commerce, okay? And the pre-production environment, it's not the best. So these characteristics made me think, of course, I'm working on a legacy code. Okay, so I told you how is my project. It is really pity that I can share like screenshots because of confidentiality. And it would have been fun, I know, but I want to show you what I have learned, like in general, because I can't go into technical things because I can share screenshots or many things. Well, I can't. I know you understand because we all sign confidential papers. But the first thing I want to talk about is about Sass. Sass is good, but could be really horrible. Sass was good when I was learning Sass, but then when you're using Sass in a huge project, everything could be really, really hard to find, okay? For example, this class, p product detail -- category link. If I want to find on my code this match, I could just copy and paste it on my code and find the match. But in this case, with Sass, we can cut the selectors and then with ampersands, we concatenate them. And you won't find the match in p product detail category link. So you have to find them, you have to look for it, like for words between the dashes and where is here, for example, p product detail, and then this example is really, really easy, okay? And then it's category link, and then category link title, category link name. So what I want to say is, I don't like this when it's too big because it's really, really tricky and it's really, really hard to find these styles. Next thing I learned a lot in this project was to debug. Before, I used to be in small projects with max 2 developers, and it was from scratch. So if you need to debug something, you just write console log, and there were a console log everywhere, and that was my debug method. Nowadays, I learned how to use developer tools. I know I still have to learn, but now I don't have console logs everywhere. I have debuggers everywhere. Well, yeah. But I have many breakpoints, and I didn't know how to use the breakpoints. I was really scared of touching everything that it was into the developer tools. So now I know where to touch. I know how to play in there. The call stack column is awesome. It makes me follow all the trace of the code, and because I need to like analyze all the tasks I have to do, not only this that I have to work on, but everything that maybe can impact, because as I told you, it's a really copying code. So I'm really happy that I know how to debug. I know that I can reach that part that you don't have to have 2,000 breakpoints in there. So that's my next step. Okay, mocking. This was really, really hard for me because before I had that idea to mock the data that I have, I was always like asking for backend, please configure this for me. Because, for example, I need to work on a message for products that are out of stock. And maybe I don't, in that moment, I don't have a product that is out of stock. And I can't see the message. So in my mind was always like, okay, I need that product configured properly to try it, to do it. But then I just realized that asking for that is ask for a client, the client asking for backend. Maybe it can take 2 weeks, I don't know. So I can mock all the data that I need. I can force all the methods that I need to show everything that I need in that moment. Okay, this is a little bit more personal, but I wanted to say it because maybe someone is feeling a little bit low because receives many comments on the pull requests. I've been there, and I'm going to tell you again, each comment on the pull requests is an opportunity to learn, because you're going to learn different ways to do the same, more efficient ways to do the same. And even though you're a junior, it doesn't mean that you don't have your own criteria. So you can refute to others because I did this code because of this, and this are learning too. When you see a small task and you say, it's easy task. No, first the task is like this. I'm a small task, and then in reality the task is like this. I have learned that if a task is tiny, small, and easy, it's not. And I will have to estimate my time of developing this task like over and over. And I have learned that if a task it is small and easy, it is the opposite. Okay, what and where to write code. Being a developer is not always only write coding and be a super crack in JavaScript. Being a developer is to understand the code that you need to improve, or the code where you need to add the feature. So sometimes when we are learning, we think that we are going to be like this cat all day and coding and coding and coding. And actually, we're going to be 90% of time, we're going to be like this, thinking and thinking, where should I put this? And if the code I'm writing is going to impact to another. And actually, in my first pull request, I felt very silly because it took me 2 weeks to write only 1 line of code. And then afterwards, I understood that it is really common. We don't need to do a pull request with 10 new methods, 100 of lines. I don't know if you know this video that is really old, that someone is in a car that is broken and doesn't know how to fix it and calls the mechanic. The mechanic comes, and in 1 minute, he just see what is broken. It's a screw that is broken, a screw that is loose, and he just fix it. And when he's going to charge to the other person said, well, this is too expensive and you only last 1 minute. And the mechanic said, well, it's not the time, it's that I knew what was broken and I knew how to fix it. So maybe the time in this example is not quite similar, because actually I'm saying the opposite, that I can take, I don't know, week or 2 weeks for only one line of code. But the thing is that we need to know where and what to write, and it's not always like a super huge method. Okay, and last but not least, comments. When I was learning JavaScript, I read somewhere, I don't know, that comments were bad, that you shouldn't write comments, because you should write like very descriptive names for methods and variables. But that is not true. It depends on the project. If you have a project that is really, really big, you should write comments. We're going to be really thankful if you write comments. And if we are developing and we see comments that explain what this is doing, we're going to be really thankful, like, thank you, because most of the code is really old and it doesn't have comments and it's really, really hard to understand. So now that we are adding some features, for example, or we are adding some new code, it is good to add comments. It is good to add comments. Okay, do you remember when I said that they told me that it was a chaos code, a chaotic code, but it was in a really good team? I think it cannot be otherwise. When you start working in a project like this, and next to you, there are people that is not nice, that doesn't help you, that talk you in a really bad way, you will quit. You will quit for the job. You will quit from the industry, because being like that could be really bad for others. And this advice is not for only this project, only for legacy code at all. You need to be nice. You need to be a nice coworker. If you have juniors in your team, you need to be a good mentor too. And I want to tell you, don't be scared of legacy code. You can learn a lot. It's not that bad. Take it as an opportunity to learn. I hope you liked the talk. Thank you, JSWORLD, again. Thank you, Singular, for supporting me. And thank you for watching. I hope you liked it.